Okay, I think we're good. I'll push that button and then I can say good evening everybody. How are you? Welcome to Sunday evening at Chandler's Cottage. What a glorious, bordering on hot weekend it was. It was, I'm still looking a little bit frazzled around the edges. I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend. It was super kind of warm earlier in the week and we got a nice cool change here in Melbourne, and now it's just warming up again. You can just feel it. But the seasons are turning. I can now have my side window open at 8 o'clock at night without getting the sun blaring in my eyes. Who's here? Who's here this evening? I have Fiona and Doreen. Good evening to you. Hello Sue, Louise, Denise, Sylvia. Hello. Sylvia, your freezer paper should arrive momentarily. You know how you feel like when you've got a dot? No, on your nose, it's not. It's just my imagination. Your freezer paper will be here. I reckon tomorrow, and I'll send it up for you. Liz, good evening. Hello, Christine. Good evening, Jimmy. Hello, Kathy. Donna, welcome. Donna, it's evening. Anyone would think you were on the other side of the world in the Northern Hemisphere. Funny thing. Lisa, how are you? I'm travelling with a friend heading to Horsham from Handorf. Oh, nice. I love Handorf. Started my honeymoon in Handorf. I'm a bit raspy, and I tell you, I'm a little bit under the weather, and I have to pull a sickie for the weekend. Not much happened, and all for a good cause. I should have had Quilter's Life didn't get finished Friday before Cass knocked off, and I love a good vax, and I'm all for the vax. Yet I'm yet to find one that doesn't wipe me out for 72 hours. So I walk in now to the lovely Luke, Terry White chemist, and go, what do we do this time, Lukey? And he goes, wow, what do you know? And he presents his fridge of COVID vaccinations like choosing a good bottle of wine. He goes, well, today at least we can have Pfizer, you can have. I said, let's go the Moderna. We've had all of the others. I'm sure I'll be fine. No, 3 hours later. Again, all for a good cause, but so you can hear I'm still a bit raspy, but I'm on the mend. I'm on the other side of it. I'm invincible now. So I had to get one done because I want the next one, is that right, before Birmingham. I don't know, it works out something like that. But it was at short notice, so I really didn't think that one through because I am wiped out. So I'm sorry. I'll make up for it tomorrow. It puts back a couple of other deadlines as well, but we will be back on board first thing in the morning. Needless to say, I was going to make sure that I was definitely here for this evening. Good evening, Jackie. Yes, Doreen, you're here with Glenda, with Grandy. Hello, Grandy. Lovely you could join us. Hello, Robin. Monica Perry. This is your first time watching, so welcome to Chandler's Cottage. Okay, we're all on our best behaviour, please. We need to be on our best behaviour because we've got Monica here and she doesn't know that we get up to no good and things can go very wrong. And you can see on Monica, I'm nervously looking out the window. No chucky sound effects at the moment. Rob's taking them out the back into the park for a walk. Yes, that is exactly what he has done with Ginny. Joy, good evening to you. Hello, Floria. Kathleen, hi. I noticed a lot of you. Hello, Bobby. Meryl as well, good evening and welcome. Oh, Cheryl's here. Terry, hello to you. Harvey Bay. It just sounds so good right now, doesn't it? Harvey Bay. Anne-Marie, good evening to you. Oh, you're going through nil. Oh, magnificent. Keep us up to date, Fee. I can geographically, I've got all of that. See, Sylvie says she can't take any of them. I do them all, and I've done the COVID. I've done the whole lot. And I'm all for it. I just should have planned it. Well, I don't know. It was the weekend. I suppose I should have been able to sit around and do nothing. Janelle, good evening. Hello, Francis. Oh, you're behaving yourself. That's no good, Fiona. Mark, hi. Jill, good evening to you. Joanne, welcome. And thank you for joining us. I did your order, didn't I? I did. Yes. Friday? I think. I know, but it's gone. I remember doing it, and Steve and I got very excited you had ordered, so that's all lovely. Evening. at Keith on the way from Hahndorf to Glanders. You're all out and about on that side of town. Rob and I are planning a little bit of a road trip in a few weeks, but I don't think we're not going to South Australia. We're, sorry, I'll point correctly geographically. That way to South Australia. I think we're going up and maybe left or right. You know what it's like when you have chickens and you have cats and everything. Good evening, Yvonne. What you have for dinner? You're at the whim of your children who owe you, and when their shift work is, and when their uni courses are. So we're just waiting to find out when the lads are free to come and babysit. Yes, you do, Jimmy. And then we're going to chuff off for a couple of days. But don't think I'm going to leave you. We're taking the camera gear with us so we can Facebook you from wherever we are. That's what we'll do. Right, so let's get started. Now, I'm just laughing because literally I'm thinking about 2 hours ago I'm going to Rob, I don't think I can do it, but we're going to do it. No sympathy. I don't need it. We're all good. First of all, did you see this drop dead gorgeous thing? This is the second one. Oh, I'm being a bit mean to you. I'm sort of releasing it slowly. Does that make sense? I'm sort of letting it out of the bag ever so slowly. But I decided to pop a bolt of this up tonight. I have 2 bolts and I have most of the fabrics here that I want to work with. But it's a case of deciding what's going into kits, what's going into pre-cuts, quilts, bags, the whole bit. And there's 2 full collections here. There's Robert Kaufman, which this is, and you may recognise it because I've got the other one in my hand that we featured the other day. So that was the cream gold, that slight beautiful peachy apricot colour, and they do look absolutely beautiful together. So this one I have more of, but I have two really easy quilts that I wish to put together to show you. They're not originals. One you know very well. So Through the Window, and yes, there is a panel, and yes, it's got a geisha. So I want to at least get those sort of kits done and allocated for you. And we're also going to make Asian screens with what I have here. So I want to do those. It's a little bit of a trip down memory lane for me, but it's also, they're 2 patterns that are just the best to show off panels and also sort of more landscape, if you like, feature prints. So the first time we did Asian screens, Robert Kaufman actually brought out a landscape orientated panel. So instead of a long geisha going this way, they brought one out that went that way. And we, as we do, we chopped it up and we made it into a really nice sort of wall hanging or lap quilt size quilt. Now there's a new fabric here that's got geishas that run lengthways down the bolt, so we can do the same thing with it. So that's a bit exciting, and I want to get that done, and then I'll let the rest out. Anyway, for now, this one's out, and this is its friend. So if you, I don't think I tagged this one again tonight. I sort of made this decision very late in the piece. So if you go under Imperial Collection, you will find this one, and this is under tonight's banner. So no Steve to do the banner. I think I've pulled it off again. The code word is still Wisteria because I didn't know how to change the code word, but there is a banner up and it works. So that's up there. Now with that, the other thing that I just wanted to do straight off the bat tonight was a new good evening, Karen. Hello, Heather. How are you? Teresa. Oh, Therese, good evening and welcome to Chandler's Cottage. And if I haven't seen you here before, welcome, or I apologise if you haven't, I've missed you. Heather, good evening to you. Janice is here too. Yeah, lovely. I was having a bit of a chat with my mate, with my favourite Australian distributor, and he's the one that we got our Toscana from, that really good cream that a lot of us are using. Yes. Give me a minute. Oh, it's here. I'll bring it out later, but there's a cream down here that's the Toscana that I got for us at a really good price for our kaleidoscope quilts, which we'll have a quick look at tonight again. So remember we did that, and I bought in volume for us, and we got it at a really good price. So I had a chat to him again, and we've had little chit chats with a couple of the American companies now. So Toscana is made by Northcote, and I've got a little bit of a thing going on with Northcote I'll be able to tell you about soon, which is really, which is going to be really different for me and exciting, and also something I wouldn't do myself under the Textile Pantry, which is where my little wholesale company that I design my fabrics under, if you didn't know. So I've got a little bit of a romance going on there with Northcote, but always have a romance with Maywood, who do all of our shadow plays and all of our beautiful ombre fabrics. So all our gelatos. Oh, I've got a couple by popular demand back ones tonight. I've got a couple of sorbet ombres for you. Anyway, we had a little bit of a chat. So we did a little bit of a deal, a little bit of a thing with them, that we can bring fabric in sort of more than the average bulk size, but direct from the factory, not via the US, and that's going to be a special order for us. It's fantastic. And then I'll be able to offer it to you as well at a better price. And this is just going to help us delay having to pay all of these price increases coming through for coordinate fabrics like this. So, do you remember we had the pearlescence a couple of weeks ago? We had the gorgeous swirly ones that we've talked about to add in as a little bit of luster. Well, this is another one, and this is going to be the first feature fabric of the month. So, and I know we're already halfway through the month, but this is the one we're going to do. And I'm laying it out here on the table so I can show it to you. First of all, next to this, because it's just gorgeous. So when you hop on the website, you'll see it. You'll see its regular price, and then you'll see what you can buy it for the rest of this month. And the way that it will work is that it will be available at this price until the end of each month. And I've already got next month's lined up. The end of the month, or until it sells out. So if it sells out before the end of the month, then it's gone. And then if it doesn't, it'll go back to its normal price. I've just realised I need to fold this up so you can see it better. So I'll do it. See the shine. It's literally, if you didn't know it was 100% cotton, you would say that it's going in a bridal gown. It's literally got the feel of a, look at that thing, the feel of a damask. I popped Black Magic plain black under tonight's banner just because it's all you need for a bag with that, isn't it? It's just all you need. Just beautiful. Right, pop that down there, and I'll give you a close look at this. Oh, that's better. So you can see, look at it. It's just incredible. So, unlike, I've got one of them here. This is one of the other ones. This is our gold one. Look at them. So, with this one, what they've done is they've lustered the majority of it, and the bit that isn't lustered is the outline of the flowers. So that's why it's just got this beautiful silky feel to it. And this one is probably 50-50 luster and cotton showing through. So it's just this big difference between them. But it's just beautiful. So what I've done, as well as that being on special for the month, is I've done up a little frosted fat quarter pack. Couldn't resist. So that's up in pre-cuts as well now. So in this, I haven't got my reverse brain working yet. Nope, this way. So in here, I've popped in natural fairy frost because it blends with them so beautifully. In there. And then, your lighting's not very good, is it? Hang on a minute. Why is that lighting not that good? There's a camera in the wrong spot. Or there's a light in the wrong spot. Hang on, I'll just fix it. Well, I'll have a go. I'll just bend that one down. Is that ring light showing in your screen? No. Okay. Let's see if that's any better. That's a little bit better. There you go. So you've got natural fairy frost here, then that beautiful gold cream, the white cream that we had last week, and now I've popped in this new one in there. So it's just all gorgeous and shiny. I popped in the description. If you were making a little purse for someone getting married or I don't know what. I don't know, but they're just gorgeous, and I think they just scream wedding and ceremony to me. However, they're also just a great thing to have in your stash to add a little bit of contrast and a little bit of shine, and come Christmas they're just perfect for snow, for the tops of stockings, make beautiful white flowers. So I've popped them up, and we haven't had any really nice kind of coordinate fat quarter packs for ages, so really pleased that we've got those done. Elizabeth, good evening to you. How are things up your way? Yes, on our road trip. Could be, it's on my hit list. I said we come towards you, and then Margaret said you can't go without me. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. Tracy, good evening. Sandy, welcome to Chandler's Cottage this evening. I've got my sisters in the building, have I? That'll be right. Hi, Dell. How are you this evening? Oh, yeah, you're all here. Monica. Buddy. How are things? Oh, I've got a naughty day, haven't I? I've got to prep for that and get the stuff to Marg. Naughty meeting in June. Right, so I'll leave. I don't want those to go too far away, those frosteds, because we might need to come back to them. So there's a bit of show and tell tonight. Fabric and blocks. I have done some. So these are sort of back by popular demand because we sort of so you have been busy. We ran out before everyone had finished with them. So long story, I asked ages ago if we could get a little bit more out of the States, and we did. So we've just got 2 small bolts of these beautiful ones. Now these, as I said, are sorbets. They're not the gelatos. So these are digitally printed, and they don't have the lines in them like the gelatos. So they are digitally printed, and it's just a smooth gradation across the block. So there you go, they're back. They are just, I mean, talking of Christmas, this is just so beautiful. But I also got, I couldn't help it, I got this bolt as well. So these are all on special. Look at these two together. So this is a digital print. This is Jason Yinter. Look at that. Please do have a look at the size of this scale, because I got a little bit too up close and personal in the photo on the website. That's a generous inch across one of those flowers, but I zoomed in a little bit too much with the photo. So just take note of that, the actual size of it. But those two together are just yummy. But there's pink in here as well. So pink red in there also. So some of the others are going to work just as well if you've got some other ombres in your stash. So that's that lot. Excuse me. Okay. Now, also, I've popped up. Wait, no, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. So, for the kaleidoscope quilt, I have finally got my act together with the coordinate packs for the other colorways besides the autumn one that I'm doing. So if you have decided just to pop in and say hi this evening, what we've been working on a little bit over the last week or so, so we've started making this together. So this is the Sunburnt Country Kaleidoscope quilt, and we've talked about how we can add some more in, switch it around a bit, how to cut our blocks. So if you go back through the last few shows, you'll see some detail on how we've been cutting all of our fabric in multiples of 6 to create our 6-sided kaleidoscope blocks. And we're sort of up to the point of putting all those together and getting ready to assemble the quilt. I'm making it sound like it's so straightforward, aren't I? And it's just done in an afternoon. It's not. But it's really, really enjoyable having fun with the kaleidoscope. So I've got a few more here that I've just been playing with this afternoon. I'll show you where I'm up to. But before that, what I did was put together a pack of coordinates for the Sunburnt Country one that I'm making, because you need a few coordinates for all these little paste blocks. I'll show you again. The paste blocks. Whoa, camera's not too happy. There we go. the piece blocks. So we've got other ones in here that just use coordinates rather than the ones that are made from the feature print that we're cutting down. Okay, so I've put the other ones together now. So we have, look at these, I've got 2 here. So, and they're up under tonight's banner. So the first one is, I've labelled it summer, because to me these are all our Australian summer colours as opposed to the outback and the burnt oranges. So I had a big play. Now you'd think I'd just be able to knock that over so quick, but I didn't want you to end up with just 4 or 5 flowering gum prints. I wanted you to have some texture and a bit of a mix up in there as well. So we do have the solid red flowering gum, and then I had forgotten I'd stashed this, or it was Harvest, wasn't it? Was it Bounty of the, yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'd stashed the lime green for a new version of the Twisted Log Cabin. So it's sitting in my office, but I've snuck it out tonight and I've popped it in this pack. And I've popped in the multi-gold flowering gum with a little hint of green. A really good, I think it's R54 Shadow Play. So we've got a really strong red, solid tonal as opposed to the flowering gum. And then we're down to flowering gum. So what's going on here is I wanted you to have 2 different shades of red and 2 different shades of green, because you need that kind of variety, so that when you come to pairing them all up and strip sewing them, you get this sort of really nice mix going on. And it won't matter which ones you pair up, you're always going to get contrast. So if you decided that you wanted to put the 2 reds together, here come my chickens. If you wanted to put the 2 reds together, you could, and they're still going to contrast. And if you wanted to put the 2 greens together, you could, and you're still going to get contrast. So you'll be able to decide whether you want to mix and match and get multiple contrast, or you might like to have some blocks that are all red, some that are all green, or maybe just a little bit of apple green and the gold in here. So that's that one done. And for those who haven't watched before, we have 3 resident chickens who are well known to the group, and we have Geraldine, Franny and Penny, that are named after past and not so past aunties and cousins, and they're outside, and Rob's just fixing up their feed and drink for the night, because they've got this horrendous routine where about 8 o'clock at night or at sunset they all go out into the reserve out the back of our place for 15 minutes and have a good peck around. But we've done it so often, their body clock, they go nuts if they don't get to go out. So fortunately Rob's able to take them out just as we start the show. So it gets ugly, you should hear them. It's not good. Okay, this is the other one. Right, so this is for our spring pack. So I know a lot of you have chosen this one, which I think is extremely exciting. Oh, did you? I am so sorry, girls, that you lost a little bit. Hopefully it's okay now. But what I can do, give me 2 seconds. Let's try that. We'll see if that's any better for you. I've moved cameras. I've moved sound to a different camera. So hopefully that's a bit better for you. Okay, this is the one that I am so excited, because a lot of you have chosen to do this instead of the autumn. I think it's going to be the most prettiest quilt. And these are the colours that I have chosen to go with it in a pack for you. Now, in here we've got the Dusky Pink Flowering Gum. This is very exciting. I mentioned when I was down the Briars. So, give me 2 ticks, I'll come back to it. Here's our beautiful pearlized one again. I've popped in, I think it's, oh, don't quote me, I think it's P8 Shadow Play. And we've also got the pear minty green flowering gum. Now, when I get this up close for you, and if you're just watching the first time, we do this a lot, because I really like to be able to show you you know, because it's so hard when you are purchasing and you can't see the fabric in person. But if you have a look at the two pinks that I've chosen, put that there, and have a look at these two pinks. I've actually used two different pinks in the fabric. So there is these sort of, oh Lisa, hang on, I'm down the wrong end. These sort of pinks, which are a true dusky pink, and the flowering gum picks those up. But when we get to the Banksies, it's going more towards or particularly that bottle brush, it's going more towards a salmony pink, and that's what the shadow play will pick up for you. So is that camera super zoomed in or something? Oh, look at that. That must have been from filming. Goodness me. All right, so this will pick up the Waratahs, and the shadow play will pick up these lighter dusky pinks and the bottle brushes in here and there. Okay, so that's the other one. Now back to this. Oh, hello Pam, very chilly UK. I bet it is really, really chilly at the moment. I bet it is, but you've got spring around the corner, so it's coming. It's coming. The daffs would be out. It'd all be gorgeous. They were all out when I was there in, when was I last there? 2019. I think that's when it was. And it was just gorgeous. That teal, oh, sorry, there's a Rosella tin in here. That's our pack I just showed you. Pop that down. We'll just trash the stand. Take these down because I just want to mention those as well. This is our new Toscana. I can't tell you how excited I was. Well, I can. I was very, very excited because it's so hard to find fabrics that match the background except for our teal flowering gum. So this is Toscana. I've popped it on tonight. It is called Sea Glass. Grass or glass? Glass, I was right. Sea Glass, and there was only one bolt in stock. I have another 3 coming because we're going to use it a lot, and I'm just so thrilled that we could finally find, it's one of the new Toscanas, find one that works. So if you have a look at it together, it's just perfecto, really good. But here's the other exciting thing. It does both. It does both camps. So it does pink and teal Melba as well. Look. Da! So good. So it just solves so many problems for us. I was borderline actually contemplating when we do our next print run on small floral that we'd actually have to do one, but I'm not going to touch it. This is, why would we, when we can get beautiful Toscana from Northcote done. So that's up. So if you are looking for something to go with this, or to go with your pink and teal, and it will go with the border stripe on the back wall as well, they both go. So that was a big find. That was a big find this week. I was very happy. If you're wondering, if you haven't seen them together as well, just to show you, this is the teal flowering gum. So it blends with it beautifully. Now this is edging towards more blue, that's edging towards more green, but they all work together really good. You don't do these, of course. Well, I don't, because this is gold and that's silver, but it all works. I'm going to leave this out for a tick because there's another little fun fact I need to share, just in case you're unfamiliar with it. And that's you can tell at the moment I'm sort of kind of in design mode and working out what we're doing moving forward with fabrics and what's going to go with what and where and everything, because very soon we'll get those last strike offs for the last big Waratah print back with Under the Australian Sun. So with this print, it's got the darker blue-green for the foliage, but when you go to the border print, it has more of a mint green or the pear green, which is what this one is. So I tend to run the aqua or the teal with this if it's on its own. If I'm using the border stripe, I use this one, but when we get the big Waratahs back, both greens are in the foliage, so that will pull them all together. And I feel like this poor guy has been kind of left on the shelf, because when we did that print run, when we started this one off, we thought that the big Waratah was only a couple of months behind. But alas, with factories and COVID and everything, we're only getting to it now. So we're just, you know, feels like a member of the family's missing. Oh, and of course, it all goes with the mint gum leaves. We're going to get there. It'll all happen. I also just pulled in tonight, for your reference, these two. So we did new dusky pink applique essential packs, and if you are looking at starting to play with coordinates or doing the kaleidoscope table runner, that's a download on the website, that one's going to work really well. And look at that, so does our friends of periwinkle. So that pulls you from those beautiful dark blue teal greens right up into the leaf green. So that one's really good as well, and you can see those colours quite clearly on the website under those also. So just keep those in mind if you're in this sort of frame of colour. I built one of those stands tonight where everything is kind of counterweighted, and I don't know if I lift something off if it's going to fall or not. I'm a bit nervous. I also popped on Spesh tonight our trivets, so with the cork back on them. Particularly, I know a lot of you are doing the kaleidoscope table runner, and I thought, just need to remind you, you can as well get your matching trivets or placemats if you want to use them for your table. So they're all in Spesh, and that's the pink and teal one. Right, so they're under tonight as well. So there you go. Now, when I didn't feel like I was hit by a truck, I did start getting some of my blocks together for my sunburnt country. So I'll show you. I've got a lot of them sort of half pieced in my sewing room next door, but I thought I'll show you just my little thought process that I've got going on to construct all of our large, I called them a cluster last week, didn't I? That's not what we called them in flower garden blocks. It's got to be Emma, doesn't it? It's not me. She would have come up with that term, I'm sure. So this is a bit of a contrast of colour now, isn't it? There you go. That's one of mine that's been done ready, and each of these takes 7. So I'm good when I start, and I go, no, I'm just going to make all of my kaleidoscope blocks, all of these first, and then I'm going to go back and put them together. And then I get about an hour in, I get a bit bored, and then I start piecing them. You go, it's going to be fine. I'm going to resist now. I was going to just keep piecing them, and I thought I'll get to the end and I won't have a good balance of combination of colours for that last one, and I'm going to be really mad with myself. So I've stopped, and I've got a whole heap of them half made next door. And I just thought I'd show you, once you have got them together, this is what you do next. So you've got a lot to make. Got about 35, 42, however many you want to do. Remember, we decided we might add some more in to fill in some of the spots in the background. But what I've decided to do as I've been making them up is that's not the one I wanted, is it? Oh yes, it is. My intention, for all good purposes, yes, is to have one in the middle that features some of the Banksia, so some of the Banksia menzies here. So in this one I've got the head of the flower sticking up, and I found another one today that I can use for the center of the next one. So the way that these work is you're going to actually piece them in rows, and you'll find that in your instructions as well. If you haven't grabbed a pattern yet, you can order a hard copy, or with fabric or without fabric, but you can also download it. So you can just buy a download and it's done in 5 seconds. Okay, so that one's going to be my middle one. Then I sort of have a little bit of a play and get a balance of colour. So you can see here I've got these two that have got different scale of grevilleas and a lot of orange going on. So they are going to go opposite each other. Now I unfortunately am quite OCD with colour, and I I can't help myself. I have to have balance, but the blocks being kaleidoscope are so chaotic that it's almost going to be subliminally, is that the term? Unconsciously, they will have some order to them, but to anyone that doesn't know what I've done, they'll still look random. Does that make sense? So, orange, grevillea, fair bit of yellow going on, and then these two have sort of got orange and green a little bit, so they're a little bit of a mixed basket. If you look back at this one, a lot of pea flowers going on, a lot of yellow going on, and these two are just a little bit of a mix of grevillea and green, and grevillea and coria up the top. So there is some logic to it, but when someone looks at it, they won't pick it. It'll just be straight up. Can I get, Nancy, what do you do? Can I get the fabric as a pack near your phone? Yes, you can. They're under tonight, Nancy. They're called, you get 5-inch piece strips, which are enough. They'll be under Sunburnt Country, and it will say Spring Collection or Pink and Teal, something like that is what it's going to say. Denise Klassen, where is your note? Bernadette, may need to catch up later. Well, that's fine. Absolutely fine. We can catch up at the soiree, Bernadette. That's not a problem at all. Oh, I didn't bring the purse in again. I promise it will be here next time. So much going on. You know what I love? I kind of love, but then I don't. 2 weeks before the soiree, I love it because we're getting all these emails. Lisa, can I please sit with so-and-so on table so-and-so? Can you make sure that I'm with this person? And I love it because I'm seeing people asking to sit together that met at previous soirees that live in completely different parts of the state. And I love it. I love it because it means we're bringing people together and they're all having a fab time sewing with cake. All right, once you've got this layout happening, the next thing that you do is just, not sew yet, we're just going to lay these in here. Okay. So this is our background fabric. Now remember what I said too. If you wanted to grab that little fat quarter pack or grab 1/2 meter of our fabric of the month, or this one, this beautiful pearlized soft gold, every now and then you could actually replace one of your triangles with a little bit of pearlescence. This is the gold one. So that, and it just gives it that little pop and that little bit of reflection. So either here or in some of the areas of background on the quilt. I can't find that copy I was working on the other day. Oh, it's probably in my studio. Remember we were doing this the other day and we were talking about how we could come in and fill in more areas with more colours. So in some of these areas that are all triangles, I'm going to come through and pop a couple of pearlescents in here, just to give a bit more reflection, a little bit more interest in the background, as well as filling in some of these other areas with a couple more blocks, I think. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, now, once you've got that there, you're going to grab one of your unsewn groups of 6 triangles. So you won't need all of the ones that you cut to make up your, you know what I call them, garden cluster things. Oh, come on, I can't remember. Flower garden blocks. You won't need them all, and it's good because you actually need them to complete these. So once you've got this together, you're going to go back to the ones you haven't used, and I've got one set here, and we're going to add those around the outside. So if you have a look at this one, that, and that are actually another set of 6. And when I did this one, I did look at it afterwards and go, okay, next time I do one, I'm going to pick a more predominant set with this big waratah head to actually see if it has a little bit more impact. So remember, where you can, use the straight grain on the outer edge, and if not, pop some of that 1/4 inch quilter's tape that we talked about on the back, and these are going to go around here. You've had bikes out the back in the reserve, and now you have a flock of cockies, and the girls have gone to bed. Hilarious. But I've got the window open because it's quite warm. There you go. How's that? So, Nancy, if you can't find it, just email me too, and I will sort it out for you later. Don't worry at all. So you can see now, there in here, it adds, when people stand back from this later and look at the quilt, they'll see these kaleidoscopes first, but then their eyes will be drawn in, and you've got this other kaleidoscope thing happening around the outside. So cool, very cool, and just, Betty was so clever when she designed this. So just keep in mind when you're sorting out, you've got all of your piles of triangles to go, you may wish to maybe separate out the ones that have got the big waratahs in them and use some sets for your pieced ones in the center to give it a real bit of oomph in the middle, and or save them for these ones around the edge, I think, because if you really want that to shine and stand out as a little extra kaleidoscope effect, you're going to need a really sort of predominant shape in each of those triangles that are going around the outside. So once you've got your layout like that, what I've done in my room next door, unlike Emma, I have a little bit of design wall envy. She's got one now. I have a slat wall though, she hasn't got a slat wall. Felicity has a slat wall. I love my slat wall. You know what a slat wall is, don't you? This is can you see it down that end? That's the slat wall, and all of our spoke, all of these things go onto it. So that's what's holding everything up. So I love a slat wall, but I don't have a design wall. So next door, and if you don't, or you do, buy your batting for your quilt before you finish your quilt, and just bull clip it up onto a rod, curtain rod or something, and there's your design wall. So I've popped up a bit of batting next door, and I'm pinning all of these onto it so that I know exactly where they go for each block as I do them. And I do suspect once they're all done, I'll probably pin the whole quilt up there, so I know exactly what to sew to what as we go. But you do need a little bit of a layout. If you decide to do it on a table, and we haven't discussed this sort of thing for so long because we've been doing so much applique and things, but if we are doing a lot more at the moment, speed piecing and machine piecing, just make sure you get your posture right. So your swivel chair, don't, you know what to do, don't you? Don't stand up and turn at the same time like Lisa did back at the chiro tomorrow. You've got to twist yourself right round and stand up with 2 feet, and do stand up a lot so that you stand up and walk to the ironing board, you stand up and walk to the design wall or whatever, so you're not sitting for too long. I know a lot of people that iron right there at their machine, and that's great, but you've got to turn your whole body to do it. You can't do the sideways thing, or you're really going to feel it in your hips after a while. So this is going to go back up on my design wall, and we actually piece it in rows. So if you have a look, if I just pull this aside here, and I'll pull this one over here. Now I thought about sewing tonight, but I'm just going to bore you to tears. I would rather show you how it's going to work, and then I can whiz it up later and we'll be on to the next bit. Okay, so row, row, row. Now, and this is why you've really got to get your orientation right and make sure you pin and mark as you go, because I have several times attached that to there instead of to there, or this has got turned around the wrong way. So I'm now really strict with myself and take a section at a time. So you don't want to get yourself in a situation really where these two are going on to the same one. So I like to do it like this. So I'll take this one and pin it onto here, and this is just purely to hold it for now. I will pin it properly before I sew it so that I can stop at that 1/4 inch seam line point, and then I'll pop this one onto here. The other thing too, if you're pretty savvy with your phone, just snap a picture of the layout before you start your pinning, so that if things fall on the floor or you get distracted, you have that layout that you can go back to. And if you do have it, you can probably confidently take the whole lot to the machine, and then you'll just have a second where you've got to go back and find where they go. So this one will go on here, and then I'll pop that one onto there. I did find with some of my blocks they were a little bit wonky where they met in the middle, and I did find that going back and clearly marking those corner points and getting my pins right down into that corner, into that point, made a huge difference instead of winging it. Remember, I had a couple that came up askew because I rushed them the other day, so I went back and fixed those up, and nothing a little bit of good precise pinning didn't fix. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one on there. You know, this is one of those things where there's so many options of how you can piece it together, but it's just really nice if you can keep them all separate and you haven't got two corners going on at the same time onto a hexagon. So they're all pinned, ready to go. Now you can see what will happen once I've got those rows together and I bring them back. There's going to be kind of that section, and I'll be able to come through and piece these two sections out from here, just like we did when we were piecing our kaleidoscope hexagons. So start here, do separate seams and straight out across to get a really nice point here, because once it starts going together, of course, it truly is a hexagonal quilt, because this is a hexagon, that's a hexagon, that's a hexagon, that's a hexagon, and we've got all of these interlocking parts now, which is what makes the quilt so unique and special. So that's that one. I'm just going to sit these on top so that I can take them next door and get them sewn. Okay. So that's plenty to keep you out of trouble, and me, for this week. So I'm just, Petra will tell me off if I put it on the floor. I'll put it on the shelf. Okay, pop it there. Now, when you come to doing your actual paste coordinate blocks for it, it's exactly the same, except that you're going to pre-paste strips that you then cut your triangles from. So when we did the kaleidoscope table runner the other day, it's the same sort of thing. So I'm going to take one for the team and cut into these because I love them. And with these, just to show you, you're going to have the best fun with whichever set that you've got. I mean, some people are buying this set and then using it to make the kaleidoscope table runner rather than the solid set that we put together. And then some of you are buying, like we had a play with the kaleidoscope tile fabric from Melba, and you're using that to make the table runner. And I'm just, or this big quilt. I'm just loving that everyone's doing lots of different things with them. Okay, from each of these fabrics, that seems pretty good, so I'm just going to use it. Or that edge. You cut 2.5 inch strips and 1.5 inch strips. So I've got two layered up here together. So you've got minimal waste. That's going to be tying up the tomatoes next season, or used for mini bunting or something, I don't know. I just said that because Megan said she was going to join us this evening. She's the bunting queen. Oh, Jimmy, do they? I've got lock-up hips at the moment, and I know how I did it, and I started it a long time ago. Something called a Boxing Day sale, and standing at a laptop that was not the right height for too long. So let's just say we fixed the laptop and the screen and all of that. But I haven't fixed the knees are still, the hips are still working. I'm working on it. But that would go for anyone if you're standing at a cutting bench that wasn't the right height. If you do want a good cutting bench, and I know there's lots of them out there, but if you can get to or get delivered from IKEA, I'll send you the link. This one is not one of them, but the ones we use in the cutting room have got the wind up, and it's brilliant because Steve's 6'2". What am I? 6'4"? No, 5'4", and we're all different heights, and we all like working at different heights, and we can wind them up and wind them down. to suit what we're doing or to suit our height. And I just think they're fantastic because you can use them, wind them up to your right height for cutting, and then you can wind them down and put your sewing machine on it and use it for your sewing table. So they're really good. They're 300 and something. I saw them again when I was there on Friday. So if you know anyone or you have someone that can get one for you, I think they're a very, very good investment. So what will happen with these is you just have a little bit of a play and put them together in different combinations. So because they're 2.5 and 1.5, when you put them together, they're going to come up to the 3.5 that you need. If you remember, we cut all of our pieces at 3.5 for our feature fabric. So you can see you can just mess around. And in the instructions it only mentions 4 fabrics, but I've put 5 in these packs for you. So you're going to get even more variety to play with. I mean, you can do this with anything in the cupboard. Just have a little bit of fun and try and make sure that all of your pieces are different combinations, which I think I've done there. So you get lots and lots to play with. 5 different sets. Then Lisa's going to go, I don't like that. I don't want. No, that's it. That's the best way. Then I get everything different. So they'll get strip sewn, and then you'll just head to the same instructions to cut down your triangles and be able to make more kaleidoscope with your piece ones, just like we did with the kaleidoscope table runner. And then they'll be ready to pop into your quilt as well. I would just make as many as you possibly can. I would. And then worry about where they're going to go later. Because, yeah, I've got one cut. They're done. All done. Okay. So that's going to keep you out of trouble, I hope, for a few more days. The other thing too, I'll do these. I just want to have a play with you tonight with this and cutting kaleidoscopes from the stripe, because a few people have asked me, can we do it? The answer is yes, but I think we need to increase the block size to get a really effective kaleidoscope. But just before I do that, Rob tonight has put these up for me. We got sidetracked. We're running a little bit late. And we've put up a whole heap of remnants for you. If the colours are not great, please excuse us. Well, I want to show them to you here because I think a couple of them are a bit dark. So these pieces are big, a lot of them. They'll have the yardage on them. Some of them are 2 or 3 half meters together. So if you are looking for the backing for a quilt, you're going to find, oh look, that's only a half meter. That's pretty cool. And you're going to find something to use. Some are 2 meters, so you've got borders, and you will recognize these. These are the ones that we had last year or early this year, and a lot of them, I will admit, are the end of bolts from ones that we had in the Boxing Day sale. And we've just been too busy to get them organized. Some I'm crying over and parting with. Hello Karen, how are you? Are you good? Okay. Some of the, yeah, see, really nice. That's 3.75 meters, so that's going to make a good backing. That's my last 2 meters of that gorgeous thing, so that's going, so there's a whole heap that we've popped up. You know, we're on that roller coaster ride where sometimes we go, oh, we can do that later, and then other times we go, we're going to be moving this year, we really need to keep things to an absolute minimum and we need to clean up. So it just happens. Big peacock feathers, if you want them for a back, that's 4 meters. Say no more, 2 meters. Okay, and then there's a beautiful bit of Liberty going out at just so far below crossed. I don't even want to talk about it. If you've got a blue quilt on the go. So again, as I said, you'll recognise a lot. But with the new Orientals coming in, we've had to make room it's going. I'm really being naughty, aren't I? There's a whole heap. I'm regretting a couple now. So it's beautiful scrolls, more scrolls, more scrolls. So I probably hesitated because I thought, oh, maybe something Christmassy for this year. I've gone, no, I've got more stuff coming this year. I'll do that then. This beautiful pale blue one. The last bit of Bollywood, a gorgeous big bit of Christmas fabric. That's 6 meters. So if you've got a country red quilt, that's perfect for backing. Or you might decide that you're going to make all your Christmas placemats or all of your Christmas stockings this year, so it all matches and looks gorgeous. So that would be the perfect fabric for that. You see, I wore this tonight for Megan, and I don't think she's here. She said she'd try and look. She'll look later. So Meg, this is for you because it doesn't show up on your phone. Some of you, if you've got an Android, it doesn't show up on some phones. It's Wisteria. It's still under Wisteria because I don't know how to change the code name. I know how to change the banner, but not the code. So it's still Wisteria. We're still using the same one. I wore this for Megan because I bought it. This is my bunting necklace, and she's the bunting queen. So that's why I thought I'd better wear it tonight. I'm thinking it's either Garfield Op Shop or Pakenham Vinnies. I can't remember which one. You know I love my op shopping. So one of those two, and I had to have it. I think it was $2 and it was worth every cent just to wear it. Even if I wear it once and take it back and they can sell it again. That would be good. Alright, oh no, I'll have to save it. We'll have a bunting day one day. So, I've got a bit of this. And I'm going to cut it up. Oh, the other thing that goes with all of the spring collection as well that we've got up is yellow flannel flowers. And also, now see, I've got things counterweighted. Hang on. Also the yellow cream gum leaves, because the yellow cream, can you see that? It pulls up all of the yellowy golds in the Banksias. So if you're looking for another fabric to add into your quilt, or for the back of your quilt, that would be really good. I'm going to show you, I've got this container on there, and it is literally overflowing with gold zip pulls. So it's our container that we have, so when you order your zip pulls, we pack them off. And we're a little bit behind with the pack off into packs of 3. And when they're all in a big box, they're heavy. So I'm using it as a counterweight at the end of the shelf. Alright, let's have a look at this, because, as I said, by popular request, we would have a go. So with this print, now I mentioned when we talked about mitered corners last time that it is not going to be your friend if we're doing mitered corners. So because the way that I set up the design, it's not mirror image, so they don't go like that. They bud that way and a bud that way and a bud that way and a bud that way. So it's actually very difficult to get them to miter with a mirror image. However, for kaleidoscope, they're really, really good. So the design on the border stripe is different to all of my others. It's only 8. So remember I said everything has to be multiples of 24 for the screen printing. So 8 fits in. So you can see to the tip of that leaf there, to the tip of that one there, that you can see it. It is 8. Maybe choose something easier for you to see. We'll go up here to the coria. So from the tip of that bud to the tip of that one there, that's 8 inches. So if we want to work in 8 inches, we can. I actually was thinking about this before, that I would probably work in repeats of 16. I do double. And the reason is that these borders are, or these stripes, petition stripes, are 3 1/4, 3¼ I did get right, yeah, 3¼ I always have to measure them because when Robert Kaufman did them, before I got my hands on them to tweak them, they weren't all the same. I don't know if you knew that. If you have a look back, if you've got the old ones with the funnel flowers in, they're not all the same. And it used to drive me mad when we were trying to design borders. So when we tweaked it, I made sure they were. So from here to here is 4 inches. So when you think about it, when we actually lay them all up, if we want to come through and cut 4-inch partitions across, 8's going to be okay, but 16's probably going to be a lot easier to work with to get that effect. So what I want to do tonight is just cut some so you can see, or you and I can see, how it's all going to work. So we need to choose somewhere to start from, don't we? So we've always got to cut from the same spot. So I'm going to cut through here. Whoops, I slid. It's not like me. Okay, that just shows I'm not with it tonight, doesn't it? So we'll put that there. I'll just go back and take that off. Alright, so I'm going to cut at 8 inch. So I'll take this one off. Like that. And then remember, this is our template. So we bring it through, we make sure they all match up in the same spot. That's over that bit there. All good. We can come through and cut again. So much smaller repeat to work with. And because it's not, I don't know, because there's more background, isn't there, with this one? So you do wonder how much it's going to impact it being absolutely precise, but I'm not messing with it. Do you know what I'm finding? It's shifting just a little bit. So if you're going to do this, I want you to not go by the 8, I want you to go by the repeat, okay? Because it's obviously got a little bit of a pull on the weft. As I said last week, it's so interesting when you start playing with fabrics. What are we up to, folks? 4. To just see how they behave and move. Now if you get any of this, it's definitely going to come off a tube, so you're not going to have that fold in the middle. So if you decide to have a little bit of a play kaleidoscope wise, it's going to be great to work with. I'm doing full width ones here, but if you just wanted to have a go, just to see how it comes up, you've got the same pattern repeated twice on this fabric, so you could actually just, before you start doing this, split it on the fold and just do one width. You're not going to get a lot, but it would be a good way to see how it's all going to come up. Okay, 5, 6. Now, remember what, don't do as I say, not as I do. All right, so you're going to do what we did the other day. You're going to line up all your designs and you're going to pin them really well. So you'll lay up the 6 and you'll go through and pin them, and you're going to do that with it all laid out single, sorry. So you need to go through that process and make sure that they're all exactly the same. What have I just done? That way? Nope. This way. Oh, that's better. I gave myself a fright then. So line all those this up. So you're going to come through and pin, please, all the way through. Who hit a pin the other day? Carol. Poor Carol Newton hit a pin. Who's done the crossover yet? Has anyone done the crossover and thought, I wonder what that would look like? I have. I was there about 5 minutes ago and I completely lost concentration thinking about it, of how that would kaleidoscope. You know, those frosted ones, these guys here, I also thought about, I don't know why, but just thought about what would it be like to do those with little kaleidoscope hexagons with some flat cream, just some solid cream, and some solid white, because you would just get this most beautiful kind of geometric damask effect between the ones that are shiny and the ones that aren't. Okay. So I'm thinking that, just to see what it's going to look like with you, should we do the chop? Should we do it? I think we might. So because the pattern repeats twice across the bolt, let's pop a pin in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, in the middle. Okay. So we'll pop a pin there. And then let's just do this side, because that's the same over there. So if you find it hard to manage a full width, you can chop this one in half. Of course, what we did with the big floral, if you go back and have a look, and if you've got the pattern, you only need sort of just over half the width of the bolt. I did a lot more. I didn't trim off as much because I want more blocks. So if you did want to do this, you could actually chop it in the middle. Just put one more over here. I think these are pretty well lined up. Okay. Now I've pinned this way because I want to do this chop first. And make sure you've got a really nice sharp rotary cutter before you start this project. So I can bring those back and repeat this process later. Okay. So, because these, as I said, are 4, I'm actually going to cut this piece right down through the middle. You could just stand here all day and pat it, couldn't you, and hope that you've got it straight. So unless you just got to pin. Don't, make sure you pin all of it. This is purely for a quick look with you and me. Am I in the right spot? Yes. There's no point in asking you if I'm in the right spot because I can't hear you. Whoa. So they've pretty much come up like squares because they are 4 across here and this is 4, so going to get a different effect. Michelle, hello, welcome. What did I miss, Sally Cox? Oh, okay, you're all good. Yes. All right, so let's grab our 60 ruler. Now, if you haven't watched before, we've had a chat about, all of us we will have a 60-degree line on our ruler. You can see it under there. So you will be able to use that to, give me a minute, because I'm a lefty, I can't work with this ruler. I'm just not good. Okay, there it is. So you'll work with your 60. Hang on, I've got to go right around the other way, don't I? That's me, right there. So that's my 60 degree there. Okay. And I can chop with that and then turn it and go again. What I love though is this thing. So I love this. And again, because I'm left-handed, I have to turn it up the other way, but that's fine. I'm just looking at what else I can do with this, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go that way. All right. So what I have to do is pretty much ignore, I'm going to have to do it, I'm going to ignore the stripes. My brain just wants to center this smack over that grevillea so it sits in the middle. But I'm not going to get the variety of kaleidoscope blocks if I do that. So I've lined up one of the lines on my half 60 ruler here, and this edge across here is my 60 degrees. So I'm going to go across there like that, and then I can come back and put again one of the lines on the ruler on the edge I've just cut, and make sure it crosses over at the tip and come back that way. This was the first one that I get myself muddled. We'll go that way. Oh my goodness, this is going to be really interesting. I'm going to get all these different effects of the gold stripe in between the borders. Oh, check it out. I'm going to get half of them are going to have that stripe in the middle, and half of them are going to have the floral. That is cool, and not what I expected. So you can make your pieces any width, any size you want. You're always going to be working with the same angle. So the larger the print, it might be the larger the pieces that you want to cut, particularly if there's some geometry in there, you know, if you've got some stripes or triangles or something. Okay, let's see what we've got. So the classic. Where's our straight edge? There's our straight edge? There. So I'm going to pop that on the outside. On the outside. It's a botanical print, but it almost takes on a little bit of a nouveau effect, doesn't it? That's a bit hard for you to see because it's sitting on my green board. Let me pop it on this. Up here, guys. Okay. That's better. So there's one. And we're just going to get that little touch of gold out on the edges on that one. All good. Alright, so if we choose one of these, I like this one. Straight edge there. So now we're going to get more that are really different because they're going to have a real spiral effect because they're going to have little segments of gold border coming out. I don't think, oh, this one's pretty close to the middle. I think I got this one. Put one of these. And remember, these are slightly bigger than the Sunburnt Country ones. You could make Sunburnt Country exactly the same pattern and just change the size of your triangles, and it's still going to be exactly the same cord. It's just going to be larger, so you can have a real play. All right, I'll just do this one and then I'll stop messing around because it's addictive. Oh, I'm going to like this one. I really like that. There you go. So it's, oh, is this one going the wrong way? It's better. I missed one. Oh no, look, I've done it up here too. Is that better? That's it. There you go. Gotta catch myself. I would not have been happy if I put the quilt together. So this is going to work really well and you can mess around with it big time. You might want to try and, if you cut them just a little bit smaller, you're going to eliminate all of the gold stripes. So if you bring them down and just cut them at 3.5, yeah, if you cut at 3.5, you're not going to see any of that. So it's really interesting. And if the smaller you go, the more you're going to be able to fussy cut in each strip, the layer of strips that you've got, to avoid the gold. And the bigger you go, the more it's going to play a part in what you're doing. So anyway, there you go. Now, as I said, he's like waiting for his new mate to arrive. But in the meantime, we do have an ROT, a tube roll of it. So I have popped it on special. There's another quilt. We put together a charity quilt kit. We were asked if we would do a kit for someone. And we put together my quilt Botanica in this colourway in it the other day. And Steve and I just went, we're going to have to make one now. So this is the sashing, the fussy cut sashing that goes in between some really easily pieced blocks. So we will get that one done as well, but in the meantime we're waiting for the big Waratah to arrive. So it's a good chance to grab these while they're on special now, and then you'll be able to add in the big Waratahs in the teal and pink and the other colours when they get here. So there you go. So tonight you've got Trivets on special, some of the fabrics are on special, you've got a pile of remnants that you might like to have a look at, and please, if you're working on Sunburnt Country, keep going, because I'm having a lot of fun and I hope that you are too. And I will see you. Who have I missed? Marg Espy, good evening to you. Hello Shirley, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And yeah, I will be back on, I think it will be Wednesday evening this week. There's a lot of stuff going on at the moment that is planning towards later in the year, and I'm torn between spending time with you and also all the things that I'm doing to share with you next year, but sorry, later in the year, but which is advent calendars and wall calendars. But we will bring out some of those beautiful oriental fabrics that go with that one I've released tonight on Wednesday evening. So we'll have a play with them then. And again, I apologise to my Quilters Life members. We got all the diagrams and everything done. I had to shoot out on Friday afternoon, and when I came back, I crashed. Not the car, I just crashed in a heap, and Cass and I didn't manage to catch up to finish everything off. So that is the first thing on my agenda tomorrow morning, and we will have that up for you to play with. I'm sure you've had fun in the meantime with your geisha though. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, everybody. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I hope you can join me on Wednesday evening. And until then, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. Okay, bye.